Hey, Nicki Sanders here with Nicki Sanders Leadership Consulting. Welcome back to my channel. Thanks for joining me. So today I want to start off with a question. If you are in a networking event and you are asked to introduce yourself without using any titles or credentials related to your career, who would you say that you are? If you had to then go a little further and not use any titles or roles related to your family composition, who would you say that you are? Think about it, because I know one thing is for sure, that you have been doing all the things for all the people all the time. You've been producing, you've been showing up, you have even been achieving. You've gotten the accolades, you've gotten the awards, you've got the degrees, the certifications. But in all of those things, what has been missing is you, who you are at your core. So you've done all those things, you've built this amazing life, you've achieved the goals that you set for yourself, and it still feels misaligned. This success doesn't feel like you thought it would feel when you were setting out on those goals. And that's not abnormal at all. In fact, I want us to normalize it and know that this space of confusion, this space of stagnation even, this space of I feel disconnected, I might even feel a little lazy because I'm tired and I just need a break, does not mean failure. There should be no shame attached to it. This space that you're in, this messy middle, this in between of where I was and where I'm going, even if I don't know where I'm going yet, is defining. This is your defining moment. You're in a shift, you're in a transition, and we have a habit of labeling or naming this space of shift and transition as failure. It doesn't feel like we think it should feel because we're not in control, and the control that we had is no longer relevant. It doesn't fit anymore. That person, that persona, that thing that we created doesn't feel like us anymore. It feels like a cape that we put on, and now it's time to take that cape off. You are becoming who you were meant to be. And I want to warn you that this in-between time, this messy middle, this defining space that you're in, before you get to your breakthrough, it can often feel like a breakdown. It can feel like everything is falling apart, but sometimes it's falling apart so the pieces can fall back into place. So we're going to shift our perspective. We're going to think about this as a defining time, and we're going to think about things falling back into place, because the laziness, the confusion, all the things that you're feeling are trying to tell you something. They're telling you that this isn't working anymore and we have to do something different. But more importantly, we have to become someone different. So our favorite first lady, right, Michelle Obama, has this New York Times best-selling book, Becoming. Now, people have turned that book into a college course. They've turned it into a curriculum. Mentors are using it. I watched, Becoming Michelle Obama. People did her book tour and she showed up and Oprah interviewed her and all of the things. And I believe that when she talks about Michelle Obama, becoming Michelle Obama, she is not talking about becoming the first Black First Lady of the United States of America. Because the truth is, she became First Lady Michelle Obama by votes. That was almost instantaneous. I am now here because of this election. But becoming Michelle Obama was about becoming Michelle Obama. Who is Michelle Obama? When she's not mother, she's not wife, she's not daughter, she's not sister, she's not first lady. And that is the amazing transition that we are watching from her right now, with her podcast, with the next book, with all of the interviews, right? We are seeing her become who she is, and that's giving all of us permission to be who we are. But for some of us, you were already on that space, and some of us may never reach the celebrity or the stage that is Oprah, that is Michelle Obama. But we are still becoming, and we want to honor who we are becoming. But before we do that, we're going to give respect where respect is due, and we are going to celebrate the woman that got us here. The woman that got us here was getting things done, period. She got things done. Yes, she was in survival mode. She may have been trying to control lots of things. She may not have been prioritizing herself, but she got us here. Let's honor that. She was strategic, she was smart, she was intentional, she was compassionate, she was empathetic, she was hardworking and tenacious, and she got us here. But the other part of that truth is she was exhausted. She was overwhelmed. She was tired. She was confused. She was suffering, sometimes in silence, sometimes not so silently, right? She let it be known. But she got us here. And here's our truth. She can't go with us to where we're going next. She can't go with you to your next. So this is the defining moment. We're going to celebrate and honor her, and then we're going to move into who we are becoming, because who we're becoming is attached to who we are at our core. This is the time for us to decide, who are we when no one else is watching? Who are we when we're not producing and performing? Who are we when we don't have on the makeup and the heels? Who are we when we're not thinking about numbers and salaries? Who are we when we're not competing in a world that wasn't necessarily designed for our success? Because we are becoming the her through all the resistance, through all the fog, through all the confusion. All of those things are telling us something. It's telling us that the space that we were in, we have outgrown. And that's a great thing. We have outgrown that space, and now it's time for us to grow, develop into this next person, this next phase of who we are becoming. And we are becoming whole, we are becoming peaceful, we are becoming soft, right? All of those things is who we are becoming, and becoming those things is going to take us getting rid of or releasing. Maybe not, let's go with releasing, right? There's some things that we have to release. So people are like, oh, you know, the door, and I'm going to get this wrong, so paraphrasing here, right? The window of opportunity is small because everybody is not supposed to fit inside with you. Well, let's all admit and understand that the she, the her that got us here, there's no space for her to go through that window. We can't take her with us either. We're going to thank her, and we're going to move on to peace, not performance. We're going to move on to success that feels aligned. We're going to move on to slowness. We're going to move on to opportunities that bring us joy. We're going to move on to relationships that feel reciprocal. We're going to move on to becoming whole. Whatever that wholeness looks like to you, because it's different for all of us, we are going to move on to wholeness. So there are three things that we're going to do in our becoming whole, right? So I'm going to read them to you because I don't want to forget. I'm not going to forget, but I want to make sure that I say it in the way that I wrote it so that you get it. That's what I want to say. All right. So in honoring this defining moment, right, because we've shifted our perspective, there's no shame, there's no failure, we've shifted our perspective. In honoring this defining moment, we are going to name this space without guilt and shame. It is not failure. We've already said that. This is not failure. This is opportunity, but this stuckness is also feedback. It's letting you know what doesn't fit anymore. So evaluate the stuckness, right, for what's next. And for many of us, it's so easy to say what we don't want And it's often hard to come up with what we actually do want. So if that is a challenge for you, here's a strategy. Write down all the things you don't want. If it's one thing, 5 things, 15 things, 30 things, write down all the things that no longer fit, that you want to release, that you don't want. And then on the next side of the paper, underneath, however you choose to do it, write its opposite. If its opposite is not exactly what you want, it's definitely getting you closer to what you want. So we're going to name it without shame and realize that this is not failure. This is feedback. What is it trying to tell you? Number 2 is ask again, who am I outside of what I produce? So at the beginning, I asked you, who are you outside of the titles and the roles? Who are you outside of when you are producing? For many of us, I talk more about high performing women versus high achieving women, because for me, that is 2 different things. High performing means that we are performing. We are doing the things. Now, whether we're getting to where we want to be or we're getting to a space that we want to be in, we are performing. We are doing all the things. High achieving means that for me, means that we are going after a certain thing. Whether you've gotten a salary, whether you've gotten a corner office, whether you've gotten a title, whether you've gotten the 3 weeks of vacation, whatever it is, right? So if you are used to performing, you're going to honor your slowness and your softness, because slow and steady can still win the race. Slow and steady can still win the race. Softness is not weakness, it is actually a strength. So who are you when you're not performing? And number 3 is create space for this in between. This is our defining moment, and we're going to be present in it. Are you really present in it, or are you just trying to rush through it and analyze it and give it a name? You want to bounce back and you want to feel more like yourself. But who is yourself? Because you left yourself, right? A little ways back. So what are you rushing back to? Instead of rushing back to an older version of you, we want to honor this process, be present in this in-between space, and know that we are becoming a new version of ourselves. And that deserves some time and some attention. Stop rushing. We've done that. We've done the hustle and grind. We've done the alarms and all the things. And I have to get this done in 3 months, 6 months, 9 months. What is my 5-year plan? Slow down. Be present in this moment, because this is defining. It is an opportunity. These things that you're going through is not a detour. It's actually a doorway. And you get to walk through that doorway. So keep going, because you get to walk through that doorway. So if this resonates with you, I want to offer you an opportunity. I have created the Power Hour Identity Reclamation Session. So this is an hour-long opportunity for us to sit down. You can pause, you can reflect, you can reconnect with your identity. It is time to reclaim your identity. We understand that one of the symptoms of burnout is identity loss. We have lost ourselves, and it's time to reconnect and reclaim our identity. So if you are interested in working with me in this Identity Reclamation Power Hour session, you can register on my website, but I would love for you to let me know what it is that you are willing to release, or what it is that you feel like you're being called to becoming. Let me know in the comments. That's 1. 2, I would love for you to share it with your sister friends who are also in the same space, because I know that many of us, when they say birds of a feather flock together, our friends are just as high performing as we are. So they're probably in that same space. We are not alone. And 3, I would love for you to subscribe to my YouTube channel, where we talk about leadership and real life and transparency and all the things that women of color are experiencing in our professional worlds and in our personal lives, because it really is hard to separate the two. So this is Nicki Sanders with Nicki Sanders Leadership Consulting. I will see you back here for the next video. But in the meantime, recap. Name it without shame. Ask yourself, who am I outside of what I produce? And create space to be in this in-between time. See you next video. Bye.